Hi, I'm Lindsay, and today I'm talking about these DIY schedule of forgotten classics or something. That's what I'm going to be calling them. I'm going to try to do it as quickly as possible. This is going to be the worst. I don't edit my videos because I don't know how, so just bear with me. But to start off, where do I start? So these are schedules. And I have used selections from the Well-Educated Heart rotation schedule. I've used the rotation schedule by months. These are ordered by months, and each month has 4 weeks. Okay, some months obviously have more days than that, but there's a reason, because I couldn't have possibly made them any less or any more. So they're organized by the rotation schedule. I think I color coded them all. So like these ones are different colors so you can see. And then I have used books from the Forgotten Classics, Libraries of Hope, the Well-Educated Heart Library, and some selections from Ambleside. Okay. So the first thing is that I made these for my children. I have 3 children who are old enough to do like a schedule of school, and those children are in 2nd grade, 4th grade, and one will be in 10th grade. So I started out by making one for my 10th grader because she came from public school, and this past year was her first year of homeschooling. She was in 9th grade, and I placed her in year 6 of Ambleside's levels, and that was a good challenge. It was both a challenge and doable for her. She did extremely well. She excelled with a literature-based and narration situation. So I've been looking for months for something else, just to see like what the other options are, because last fall was the first time I had ever looked at high school material, because up until that point we believed that she would be public schooling through her whole school career. So I have spent a lot of time looking at different high school curricula, and we use the Well-Educated Heart for my younger kids. We had tried Ambleside last year too, and it was just really too dry for them. Too dry. They did it, and they did a good job, but they're just like looking for some more. So if you're from either of those curriculums, you may or may not know what I'm talking about. I just wanted the more that the Well-Educated Heart offers. It's more somehow. It's more... it's heart education, okay? It would be Charlotte Mason approved. If Charlotte Mason were alive, she would approve of it. A lot of the selections from Ambleside are in the Forgotten Classics. I made a video about that, so go watch. I feel like I've gotten sidetracked. I did not make a list for this video, so just bear with me. Okay, so I made these for my kids. I started with my high school student. She is not doing high school level work as according to classical curriculum and homeschool, as according to Charlotte Mason curriculum and homeschool. On any placement test, she would not be placed in high school level, okay? So this level that I made for her might be appropriate for middle schoolers, okay? Just as a general, so we're all on the same page here, because there's a lot of information. So this would be maybe a middle school. I had to name them something, and I just named them levels. So ideally, you could just pick the level of your child's ability, okay? Level 2, I made the level 2 after I finished the level 3 for my high schooler, and I made this so that both my middle kids who are in 2nd and 4th grade could do this together, okay? Because I have to streamline for myself, for my sanity. Okay, so both of these levels, and probably any other additional levels, would have a Bible section, a liturgical year section. So that's just literally me going to the liturgical calendar, the official one, and putting in just like the most relevant important things like feast days, solemnities, that type of thing. If you don't go by that, if you don't use the liturgical calendar, that's totally fine. You don't have to use that, or you could put your own thing there. Then I did an art and music, which would be like your riches section. And we'll talk about that in a second. You could use like poetry or hymns or folk songs or fine art or whatever you want for this one. It just has a check mark. And then for my high schooler, I have a section for professional skills. She has biography, geography, American history, world history. Here you'll see some of the Forgotten Classics series, the Epic and Legendary Heroes, which is like a biography. This is a map and a timeline, just like, did you do your map skills? Did you put anything on your timeline? She has a section for science, and that is from the Nature series, and 2 sections for this for classic literature, math, Latin, reading, poetry, foreign language, and recitation. Okay, so those are what's really, really important for her this year. And anyone could make this. You don't have to take mine, although I know people want it because I already did all the work. But this is literally just on my laptop. I took Ambleside's PDF or like docs. I don't know. I don't even know how to use technology anymore, but someone said that you use the docs file and you take that to Google Documents or whatever, to Google Sheets, Google Docs, I don't know. Take it there and then highlight the whole entire thing and delete it. And then you can fill it in with literally whatever you want. But there were 32 weeks in the Ambleside, so I had to make another section. So anyone could do this. You don't have to do what I'm doing. But my point is that you, for the subjects, you just list the subjects that you want to have, and then you fill it in with the materials. You could do it for a curriculum that you piece together. Like if you're using, I don't know, like The Good and the Beautiful for science, and you just put the lessons in here. Or if you're using The Story of Civilization for history, you can put it in. You know what I'm saying? So I did the same for the like middle kids. The Bible, the liturgical year, art and music, a biography, geography, which now I feel like that's probably the maps, but so this is just my first draft, so just ignore that. Anyway, so for history, I did an American history and a world history. This is my world storybook and my America storybook, and I'll talk about how I did that in a second. Nature study and classic literature. And then I added imaginative tales because my second grader, he's still, I mean, they both still, all kids like imaginative tales, but I wanted to make sure that I included that here because I personally always forget to add those things. So then we've got math, Latin, reading, poetry, foreign language, and recitation. Again, you don't have to have all this stuff. However, the important part of what I'm going to say about this is that I can go into more detail, but I wanted to just get a very short video out there because so many people have been asking me. I mean, not really on YouTube, but like a lot of people messaged me from the Well Educated Heart group to ask me for the schedule. So I just thought I would just say, you don't need to wait for me. You can definitely do it yourself. And even though that's more work, I feel like the longer I homeschool, I realize that it's just, you could just use a curriculum and follow every single step that it says, but that's not me as a person, and I feel like that's not most of us, so we just have to like, just do your best, you know? So, for the middle kids, I keep almost saying middle school, but my kids are not in middle school, they're in 2nd and 4th grade. So for the level 2, which would be like a middle level, we did this past year, we tried doing the first few chapters from my world storybook and my America storybook from the Well Educated Heart. And the great thing about that is that Marlene has the audio of the whole entire one of these, and she has the pictures, the images if I can find a page with 2 images. So she has these on the website, and you can print them out and put them into your notebooks, okay? I like that because hardly can you find a literature-based curriculum that has any pictures. And I understand Charlotte Mason said you have to think about it in your mind or whatever. I'm not going to go into that, but I personally like pictures. My kids love the pictures, okay? They love cutting it out. They love pasting it in their notebook. They go back to it and they remember it. So this was important for me, and I like this, okay? So I chose for the schedule, that worked really well for us this past year. So for these official, not official, but DIY schedules, all I did was put, right here you can see, my America Storybook. And then for month 1, okay, I just picked the first 4 chapters of it. That's all. That's all I did. Okay, the first 4 chapters of the book from month 1. And then for month 2, when you come over here, it's hard to see, but these are 2 different colors. For month 2, I just took the month 2, my America Storybook book, and took the first 4 chapters, okay? I did that for every single selection that I chose that was in the Forgotten Classics. So for our little cousins, I didn't bring that one, but I'll use this one's an example. This is also month 1, but it says 13. But anyways, I just took one of these, our little cousins books, and I just looked at the table of contents, okay? This one has more than 4 chapters, so you just kind of have to squeeze it into 4 readings, okay? Into 4 weeks. You don't want to pick more because then you'll be starting a new section. And the reason for that is because I've made these like so this is for next year. The next year after that, I'm going to make another one, and I'm going to go back and I'm going to find my America Storybook month 1, and I'm going to put in the next 4 chapters. So chapter 5, 6, 7, and 8. That way, my kids are getting a continuous build. They might not remember every single thing, but at least I know, I have written down what they did, okay? We're not going to go over it multiple times. You might in other readings, but not in this book, okay? And then if they don't remember, you can just go back and read it again because you'll know what you've already done and what you haven't done, okay? So that's all I did. And I did the same thing for my high schooler, the level 3. But for her, I chose the Freedom series, which I love those ones. And I just picked, for the first month, it's the stories of Christopher Columbus. And she doesn't really have, she's never really read about Christopher Columbus outside of a public school setting, which is probably 2 sentences about Christopher Columbus. So I didn't pick the first 4 chapters of the stories of Christopher Columbus book, but I did pick the first 4. Well, this is chapter 2 and 3, 1 and 2. So 2 chapters per week from the second section, which is the life of Columbus from his own letters and documents or something like that. That way, she gets a good introduction to it. Anyways, that's not important. So then I did the same for the second month, which is October, and those are the stories of pilgrims from the Freedom series. And I just picked, for these, the chapters are kind of, some of them are short, some of them are long. So I tried to pick a good chunk so that at the end of the month, she's not in the middle of a story or a chapter, so you're not waiting to see what happens. So for month 2, there's 9 chapters about the pilgrims, okay? So anyone could do this. Once again, it's not that hard. And when I post this into the Well-Educated Heart group, I think I upset some people. Marlene was like, this is not the Well-Educated Heart philosophy, and I totally agree and understand. And so that's why I changed the name to the Forgotten Classics schedule or whatever. It doesn't, it's not official, so it doesn't matter. But It's not the philosophy. However, if you're reading any book, I feel like you probably want to read it from the beginning of the section to the end of the section. You don't want to just read one chapter of the stories and journals of Christopher Columbus this year and then wait a whole nother year to read the rest of it. I don't know. That's how I feel personally. And I also feel that anyone who disagrees with me there doesn't want a schedule, probably. So that's fine. That's just differences of teaching, I guess. So this is in no way to replace the philosophy or schedule or rotation of the Well-Educated Heart. This is solely for me, for planning purposes. And if you want to use this, but then you're like, oh, I want to be more sporadic, you could just use it as the bingo board. And that's totally fine too. Like, there's no rules. So, and then the last thing that I wanted to say is that you could add anything that you think is important that doesn't get included in the Well-Educated Heart or in whatever curriculum you're using. It doesn't matter. You can just do it however you want to do it. You can add whatever you want. You can leave out whatever you want. You can put in what your kid wants to know about and then just fit it in there. Like, whew, it's very hot in here. But anyway, so like, for example, my child's very interested in botany and ocean science. So, you could just have them start out. I didn't do this here, but I'm just going to use this as an example. Maybe. Hold on. So you could just have them start out reading from the Forgotten Classics about the topic, and then you can add in, like, do an experiment or go to this other book that's not in the rotation or in the Forgotten Classics and do, you know, read those pages. Maybe that one has more pictures. Maybe they want to see the pictures, or you want to use like one of these. Maybe you could say, go to this book and find a fish that you have never seen before and put that in your notebook or something like that. So that just helps you with scheduling if you have to log hours like I do, keeping track of the work that they've completed, and it helps with accountability for your child, especially with older children who are more independent. Like, you know, I don't know how other people's teens are, but like specifically for my teen and her situation, because she was in public school for so long, she's not just going to come into our homeschool room and pick up a book and start reading and then making a notebook page about that. Even though that is obviously something that I would love for her to do, and I work toward that, but she's not going to do that. Just, she needs someone to tell her what to do. And so we can work together, and that's how we got this schedule. Okay. So, okay, the only other thing I was going to say was that to combine with Ambleside is for the art and music section that I had, I made this, and you could follow the Ambleside Riches schedule. And so I put, oh, this is not it, over here. The Ambleside Riches, and this is the year for next year. And I've just listed out all the things, the artist, the composer, the hymn. I don't know why it's not there. Oh yeah. Okay, so those are all the hymns for term 1. So you could just follow that. Like, for example, we are in a group, a homeschool group, and they all follow the Riches schedule. And then we have a Riches Day where we talk about the things and we look at the pictures, etc. So if we wanted to still participate in that, we could follow the Ambleside Riches schedule. And then again, there's no rules, so you could make your own. And I made my own other option. And these are Catholic hymns and Latin prayer memorization and recitation, because that's what's, you know, that's what our family is doing. So if your family is doing something else, then you can just put it in there, you know. I think my problem is I need a schedule, a strict schedule, so I can have the schedule, but then later I don't have to do any of that because I don't like to be told what to do. So the schedule is really just for tracking and logging and keeping account of what we have done and what we're gonna do, because when you don't follow a certain curriculum, the drawback of that is that you don't know what you're gonna do later. And I think for some people that works and it's fine, and they're just like, it's fine, it's gonna be great. I'm not that person, because I have a lot of kids, and I feel like maybe there's people with more kids than me who just are very go with the flow, and that's totally fine. But again, it doesn't work for me. So I need to see it to know, what are we doing? How can I show this to someone? And, you know, this is my first time homeschooling a high schooler. So I'm like, I need to know. I need to be able to show someone. And especially like in our situation, which I'm not going to touch on, but someone might come and ask me for records of what she's done. So I need to make sure that I am aware. So this is mostly for me. I don't know if I'm going to be allowed to post it in the Well-Educated Heart group. And I don't know how people watching this can get it from me. I'm more than happy to share it. But again, anyone could make it. So I don't know. Hopefully that helps everyone. I tried to make this very quick. It's still 20 minutes long. I don't know. I guess that's just how long my videos are gonna be now. I don't know. But so anyways, let me know in the comments if that helped you or made you more confused. And if it made you more confused, then just disregard it. But anyways, thank you for watching my video, and have a good day.